Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I wanted to talk about human design again, more specifically about the strategy and authority for projectors. I'm a projector myself, and human design is actually what got me into astrology. So I'm still really passionate about talking about human design, integrating it into my client work. I also give human design mentoring, so I educate people on how they can become a human design reader, even though I do a lot of astrology in public, right? But I really still have a passion for human design. So I wanted to talk about human design, specifically being a projector and how you can navigate your strategy and authority, which the strategy for projectors is always to wait for an invitation. And that causes a lot of confusion. And I recently, or a while back, I did a video about what it really means to wait for an invitation for a projector. And I want to give even more tips for being a projector and how you can use that in combination with your authority. And as a projector, you can have many different authorities. You can be an emotional projector and have an emotional authority. You can be a splenic projector and have a splenic authority, or a mental projector and have the soundboarding authority, or you are a self-projected projector and have a self-projected authority. So there are different authorities for projectors, but the key is always to wait for an invitation. And then what? So when you wait for an invitation and the invitation comes, many projectors have the tendency to see these invitations as instant signs that this is the right thing for me to do, right? Because it's an invitation. I've definitely made that mistake before. And it's a learning process, right? Because when we begin our human design experiment, which is really diving into your human design and living it, it's easy to feel like we never get invitations, right? It's so easy to think, oh my gosh, how can I ever be successful when I'm just waiting for something to happen, when I'm just waiting for an invitation to do something, when in reality I feel like I have so much to share, I have so much to contribute, I know so much, I see so much, but no one sends me an invitation to share it. And that can be so frustrating, right? It can be so frustrating. And so many projectors, when they start learning about human design, can feel what I call invitation deprived, right? It's when we feel there is a lack of invitation, right? There's a lack of invitations, and so the minute we recognize an invitation, we're like, oh my gosh, that's a sign from the universe, I have to take action on that. Well, the mistake that many projectors then do is to instantly act on that invitation just because it's an invitation. But an invitation doesn't mean it's automatically the right thing for you to do, right? It doesn't mean that. And that's where the authority comes into play. Every invitation wants to be filtered through your authority. That's so important in order to make the right decisions, right? In order to stay in alignment with your energy. So depending on what sort of authority you have, if it's an emotional authority, you have to wait until the wave has passed, right? You really want to wait until the wave is gone and you have really understood the decision or the invitation from all the highs and all the lows of your emotional world, right? And in a neutral space, you can definitely decide, right? Because you have clarity. That's the key here, right? You know how it feels in the highest and the lowest expression, so to speak. And in the clear spot, when you find yourself in a clear emotional space, you will know, it's an instant knowing then that yes or no, I can act on the invitation or not, right? It's important for us to really filter every invitation through the authority. If you are a self-projected projector like me, it's just key for you to speak about different options, to speak about different outcomes, to share what invitation you've received, and to really see and feel how you sound when you talk about it. Do you sound excited or do you sound unsure, right? How does your voice sound when you talk about that? It's similar when you have a soundboarding authority. You want to share the invitation with someone, right? And then either get the feedback from someone, which it's important that that person doesn't give you their own personal opinion, right? But rather tells you or gives you the feedback, well, you sound excited when you talk about it, or you really sound unsure. that will be the indicator if the invitation is the right thing or the wrong thing, right? That's key. If you are a splenic authority, well, you have to make the decision in the moment. So for you, don't necessarily have to wait. Sometimes you do, because sometimes with the splenic authority, it means that you receive an invitation, doesn't feel quite right yet, right? But maybe a day later, when you think about the invitation, it does feel right. And then you are in the position to act on it, right? So definitely allow yourself that space to filter every invitation through your authority. Because trust me, if you don't do that, and if you act from the state of being invitation deprived, you won't be in your energy anymore. And that's really not magnetic. And you will also recognize that the more you do that, the less invitations you will actually receive, right? It's something that we have to practice as projectors. And one thing that has really, really been helping me in my overall journey, but especially at the beginning. Nowadays, I don't do it as much anymore. But when I started learning about being a projector and needing to wait for an invitation, after being a little bit frustrated, right? And being in the state of, oh my gosh, how can I ever make something happen? After that, I was like, okay, let me just see how many invitations I get on a day-to-day basis. So I really started making a list with every single invitation, because what that does is really helping your brain to focus on these invitations. I always say, like, your reticular activating system, right, in your brain will be really primed to spot every single invitation. You will realize that all of a sudden everywhere, everything is an invitation for you, which is incredible, because before we didn't really pay attention to that. And what I then did was to write all of them down, right? Because then you have a list of invitations that you receive every single day. And that basically increases the feeling of, wow, there's an abundance of invitations, right? There's an abundance of invitations in my life. So obviously you don't have to act on all of them, because it's not the only invitation that you receive. You have plenty of invitations to choose from. So allow yourself to filter all of them through your authority in order to make the right decisions, right? That's really, really important. And I wanted to touch on the self-projected or soundboarding authority. From my own personal experience, it's really key here to allow yourself to talk about things multiple times. And I know sometimes you might feel like you're annoying people because you talk about one decision over and over again. Definitely happens to me, especially with big decisions. Sometimes I need to talk it out multiple times, multiple people, multiple outlets, my podcast, voice messaging one of my good friends, voice messaging another friend, talking about it over and over again. But I also notice that when this happens, right, when I talk about something over and over again and still don't feel clear, that's already an indicator. But sometimes our ego doesn't want to see that, right? And it's just like, no, maybe I can talk enough about it until it finally kind of feels right. But what that really is, it's trying myself to be convinced about the decision that has already been made by my inner feelings, right? By already knowing it's not the right thing, but my ego wants it to be the right thing. So I talk about it over and over again from multiple angles, hoping that at some point it will feel right. But honestly, if you have to talk about something so many times, it probably is not the right thing and you already have made the decision. So allow yourself to see that too, right? And then remember, it's not the only invitation that you receive in your life, right? Even if it's the most beautiful thing in the world, if there's something that doesn't feel right, and if your voice is not convinced, it might not be the right thing. That's so important for the self-projected authority. Aside from the fact that you really need someone who does not project their own opinion onto you, or doesn't give you feedback, or doesn't put their own personal spin on things. So really a trustworthy person, that's key. Someone they will just listen to you, hold space for your own voice, hold space for how your voice sounds like, and shares that with you. That's key to have, even if it's just one person in your life where okay, this person is really honest with me, that's also key. Or just record yourself, right? Also a really good method. So I hope this gave you a little bit more clarity about first of all, how you navigate the authority and strategy as a projector, and then also giving you the tip that I really, really highly recommend you to do, to have a logbook or something where you write down every single invitation to prime your mind on seeing and recognizing these invitations, but also in order to see that there are so many invitations out there. You will be mind blown by how many invitations are all around you all the time, but you just don't recognize them. So we have to prime our mind into seeing them, and then we won't impulsively act on them, and we will have an easier time to filter them, to allow ourselves the time to filter them as well. So because we are not desperate to receive invitations, because there are so many, there are literally so many, you have all the time in the world. So I definitely love to hear from you. Definitely share your authority in the comments if you are a projector, how you navigate authority and strategy, how you feel about receiving invitations. Is it easy for you, or do you feel like it's really challenging because you feel like there are not enough invitations? Let me know in the comments below so we can have a chat. Also to just exchange our own experience in being a projector. Projectors, I feel like I still have a hard time accepting their energy sometimes if they don't understand the gift in being a projector. It is a gift because we are here to guide humanity, which is a big task, right? So we really have to be in our own energy and allow ourselves to be in our own energy, and then our energy and our guidance is what the world really needs. So see yourself as a gift as well. See yourself as someone who really is here to participate and facilitate the change that we need, especially this year 2020, right? We need guidance. We need people to see through all of the stuff that is going on in the world, and as a projector you are gifted in being able to do that. So definitely allow yourself to be in your best energy by also working with your strategy and authority. If you want to learn more about your human design chart or want to be able to read other people in their human design, you will find all the links to my services in the info box below. If you are interested in mentoring, then definitely DM me on Instagram and we can chat about that. And other than that, I'm excited to hear from you in the comments below, and we will see each other in the next video.